Welcome to the Courtroom Chronicles. This channel is dedicated to educational content based on real-life cases and true events. This content shared here is drawn directly from the actual case file, and no names, places, or items have been changed. However, the content has been carefully summarized and presented for educational purposes in a comprehension format, to inform, enlighten, and spark meaningful discussions. Whether you're here to learn, reflect, or simply understand the real-world scenarios better, you're in the right place. We believe in the power of truthful storytelling to educate and inspire. Disclaimer: while all stories are based on real cases, they are presented in a condensed and structured format for clarity and learning. Viewer discretion is advised where necessary. This case is cited from the Nigerian National Industrial Court online file, which is public record. Title: Breaking Down NICN Lay 77 2024, the controversial verdict you need to know. On-screen text. Title of the case: The story of Kingsley Udoh versus Kingsway International Christian Center. In a quiet courtroom nestled within the Nigerian National Industrial Court, a case unfolded, one that brought forward questions of fairness, contracts, and the meaning of a promise. Kingsley Udoh, a man who had served faithfully at Kingsway International Christian Center, found himself at a crossroads. After years of dedication, his employment was suddenly terminated. Disappointed and uncertain, he believed he was entitled to a parting benefit, a gratuity, promised to staff under specific conditions in the organization's staff handbook. The heart of the case lay in paragraph 7.5.1 of the handbook, which stated that gratuity, calculated as 1 month of the last basic salary for every year worked, would be paid to employees who resigned or retired, provided they were not sacked for misconduct. Kingsley saw hope in those words. Though he hadn't resigned or retired, he argued that his termination should be treated similarly. He took the matter to court. As the legal proceedings began, both sides acknowledged that the staff handbook was a binding part of Kingsley's employment contract. This was backed by earlier court decisions, like 7-Up Bottling Co. plc versus Ajayi in 2007, but the case would soon pivot on the interpretation of just one sentence. The judges turned to the language of paragraph 7.5.1. To them, it was clear. Gratuity was for those who voluntarily left, by resignation or retirement. The condition that they must not be sacked for misconduct? It was meant to limit eligibility, not expand it. In short, being terminated, even without misconduct, wasn't enough. They also considered the nature of Kingsley's exit. It was employer-initiated termination, not a voluntary step away. That distinction, though subtle in life, was sharp in law. The court reminded Kingsley that the burden of proof was his to carry. He needed to show that he qualified for gratuity under the stated conditions. But he couldn't prove that his termination aligned with the handbook's specific requirements. Kingsley also tried a backup argument. If not directly, perhaps the gratuity could still be computed and granted in fairness. But the court stayed firm. The rules were the rules. And so the judgment was delivered. All of Kingsley's claims were dismissed. He had not resigned, he had not retired, and therefore, under the clear words of the handbook, he was not entitled to the gratuity he sought. Reflections from the case. Claimant's termination did not fall under voluntary resignation or retirement as required by paragraph 7.5.1. The proviso regarding misconduct only applied to resigning or retiring employees, not those terminated. The claimant failed to prove his termination was unlawful or that he qualified for gratuity under the contract, which was the key element. Employers must align termination processes with handbook provisions. This wasn't just a legal loss, it was a learning moment for many. For employers, make contracts and handbooks clear and unambiguous. Always document reasons for termination carefully. For employees, understand the fine print of your contracts. Know your rights before you fight for them. Seek legal guidance before approaching the courts, especially when the legal strategy could limit your case. As the courtroom emptied, one truth remained. In law, clarity is everything. And in employment, the exact path you walk out on determines what you walk away with. Thanks so much for watching, fam. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know what you think about the cast. I love hearing your thoughts and feedback. And hey, if you felt a connection or learned something new, give this video a like and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. Until next time, stay safe, stay real, and I'll catch you in the next one.